agencies are responding to what we've learned is a deadly crash. I'm right in between two major roads. They say they were getting dozens of calls about downed trees and downed power lines, and of course those flooded roads like the one right behind me. He says he believes posters like these and getting people out in the community talking about this case. As the heavy rain continued, it only started making those holes bigger, and some of them are very deep, as you can see. Jane's longest field goal so far in practice is from 45 yards. I did have to do some digging, though, to make sure. I told myself earlier today if I was going to be out here in the dark tonight, I had to make sure a clown was not going to pop out. If you follow me this way, you can see it's a similar situation across this entire front yard. You go from no water to just a couple of inches, and the further you get in, the deeper it gets. I was over there yesterday and saw many people evacuating, some even by boat. So the president got to see firsthand what this community is dealing with. I got 2 tickets. Sad to say I'm not a winner. I just got one of the numbers correct. Same deal yesterday. Most of the time, counterfeiters are bleaching over them completely, reprinting them, and then trying to hand them off as hundreds. There is debris just covering the parking lot. But here is the most shocking thing. Let me step out of the way so you can really get a look at this building. The governor condemned the actions and even told the white nationalists to simply go home. The residents who live in the flooded waters behind me are very nervous. They tell me they have seen flooding here in this area before. Everywhere you look, you can see law enforcement out here. I'm told this is going to be a very lengthy investigation. They say it could continue to unfold throughout the day. You can see a lot of the ground still saturated. As you can imagine, lots of families showing up here to check on those 16 children that are being treated here at Self Regional Healthcare. They're working very hard out there, down to just one lane of traffic, so they're having to be very careful on the shoulder of the road. There are some easy ways you can tell the difference between a venomous snake, like what you see here, and a harmless water snake over here. So we actually want you guys to get a chance to meet them as well. So we have some pretty high-tech machinery over here, keeping up with a lot of this demand. He did confirm that both SLED agents and also Greenville County deputies are actively searching this area. He's now calling this a recovery mission. The ground is very, very wet, so more trees could be coming down. So officials are warning, stay away from this area. 24 hours have been touch and go for Mistina Vogel as her 17-year-old daughter fights to stay alive. She describes it as every mother's worst nightmare.
As much as we think about it and worry about it, we are never prepared to see that image when you walk into that room and your child is on a breathing machine and eyes closed, and they can't just give you a hug and say, "Mom, I'm okay."
She says the late nights of worrying come with a teenage daughter. But when she got that phone call, it became all too real. Madison Gervasi was behind the wheel of this car.
After the impact, it was pushed off into the wood line. I think she made contact with a tree as well, and her car did go up in flames. So a couple of gentlemen, including the guy that was driving the other vehicle, and a good Samaritan that lived in the area came and actually ripped the door of her car off of it to be able to get her out, and ripped it off with their bare hands.
She was immediately airlifted to Spartanburg Regional, where she was rushed into emergency surgery. She's in a medically induced coma, and her mom says she's still not out of the woods, but she knows her daughter is a fighter.
She was fighting all night, and today they were able to go back in and close that surgical wound, do some surgeries on some of the broken bones. She has broken bones from her head to her toe, literally.
Her laying in a hospital bed hooked up to machines was a sight Mistina wasn't ready for, but she's been by her side the whole time, reminding her just how loved she is.
Just for her to know that there's a lot of people that are pulling for her and praying for her and lifting her up in prayer right now, and that the more people that pray for her, God's going to hear them.
Her mom says Madison loves softball, and it brings tears to her eyes thinking about how she'll have to sit out this season. And that's not the only thing she'll be missing. Madison had just finished getting a tan for her prom. Her mom says it was a night she had been looking forward to for months.
Some of her friends have reached out and said that they don't want to go to prom now, and they need to go to prom. Because if my daughter can't be there, they need to be there for her.